Way too many games on a Friday night. 12 of them. Felt like about 300, if we're being honest. Really hard to watch when there's 24 teams playing, but I got through everything. I've seen enough. And we're going to recap all 12 games. Welcome to Stuff It, a fantasy basketball podcast brought to you, as always, by FanDuel and part of the Old Man Squad and the Believe Network now. So that doesn't have a lot to do with the video side of things. So do subscribe to the YouTube channel and give this video a thumbs up. Believe is to do with the audio side of things. So again, and I've been harping on this for weeks. Go and download the audio versions because those numbers, the downloads on the audio platforms are what Believe is looking for. So please go and do that. I thank you in advance. Let's get into these games because there's a lot. There's a lot to talk about, and I would love to get through this in 45 minutes. All right, first game. Let's make it bigger. There we go. First game of the night. An early one for the Lakers. We don't usually see them with the first game. They fall to the Boston Celtics. The Lakers were without Luka Doncic. They were without LeBron. Interestingly, LeBron is out with foot arthritis, or if we've ever seen a sign of aging, it's arthritis, isn't it? Not many players are ruled out due to that. So, yeah, something to monitor. Obviously, he's got the sciatica. He's got the arthritis. I joked on Twitter yesterday that he is washed. He's not washed, but he's certainly not the LeBron he was. But they miss him, and they missed Luka as well. They were never really in this one. They sort of hung around enough that a few of the starters managed to play significant minutes. Let's start with Austin Reeves, coming off his 42-point performance, I think, the night before. 36 points in this one, 8 assists, 3 rebounds, 15 of 17 from the line. We know the numbers go way up when he is playing with one of Luka or LeBron, or neither of them, as he was in this case. So given the fact that this was not really a close game, I think managers have to be pretty thrilled with 36 points from Austin Reeves. Gabe Vincent had 18 points in 30 minutes. We're not really interested in him unless there's sort of some unexpected absences, but it does sound like Luka could be back on Sunday, I believe. He's simply away for the birth of a child, so he will probably be back. DeAndre Ayton, 6 points, 10 rebounds still on a block. That's fine. We know who DeAndre Ayton is. Rui Hachimura, yeah, look, you string these guys in when the Lakers are shorthanded, but generally speaking, none of these players are rosterable. Let's go to the Boston Celtics. Jalen Brown returned, 30 points, 8 rebounds, 8 assists, a steal, 7 of 9 from the line, 34 minutes. Again, pretty happy to get these numbers given that it was a blowout. Peyton Pritchard, only 15 points for him. He sort of is who he is. Derek White had 19 and 6. Neemias Queta, only 26 minutes in this one. Not really surprising. They sort of went small a little bit. They didn't have to overextend him too much. 10 points, 6 rebounds, 2 steals. And Jordan Walsh started the game on fire, slowed down a little bit. 17 points, 4 rebounds, 2 blocks, 1 steal. He's been really good the last week, 2 weeks. Is he an ad? I don't think you have to add him, but he has certainly established himself as a member of that starting lineup over Josh Minott, who was in there for a little while. Did Luka Garza start? I don't think Luka Garza started. Yeah, look, worth a look. Absolutely worth a look. Anthony Simons, move on. 8 points, 16 minutes. He's not happy. They're not happy. Just get rid of him. If he gets moved to a team where they do use him a little bit more, then probably going to be worth picking up at some point. But for now, I know there have been a few good games, but the bad far outweighs the good at the moment. So I don't think we need to be holding him. On to game number 2, the Orlando Magic. They get a narrow victory over the Miami Heat, 106-105. Miami had a chance to win it. They was there 5 seconds left. They ran. Well, I don't know if they actually did run a play, but it was. It ended up being an isolation 3 for Bam Adebayo from the top of the key. Probably not the guy not necessarily the guy you don't want with the ball in his hands. You certainly might want the ball in Bam's hands, but probably not from where he shot it from. So, yeah, probably could have had a better option there at the end. Let's start with Bam. It was another really good game. He's flying along nicely at the moment. Kel'el Ware moved into the starting lineup they just went big. And this is going to be the story. They're going to shuffle these guys around. Only 4 points for Kel'el Ware. He had a block. He had 8 rebounds. He is a hold, but just keep in mind that the numbers are going to be up and down, as is the playing time. Norm Powell had 28 points in his 32 minutes. So anytime he plays, he's been really good. And Tyler Hero is having an MRI on his toe. That's not great news. No word on severity yet, obviously. But once we do get some clarity, that might give a bump to guys like Davion Mitchell, Jaime Jaquez, in theory, Pele Larson, but he did absolutely nothing in this one. So if Jaquez is available, if he was dropped, maybe you go and add him just in case Tyler Hero misses time here. And Davion Mitchell, he'll remain an assists and kind of a steals guy, but he'll have a clearer path to production if Tyler Hero does miss time. For the Magic, Paolo Banchero returned. Limited minutes, only 29 points. Not a great game, but really good to have him back. Obviously, his return will impact certain players, one of which, if you look down this box score here, if you are watching along, Desmond Bane had 5 points on 2 of 16 shooting. Now, this is not all Paolo. This is not all Paolo. He just shot the ball terribly. It was just a really, really rough night for him. So, of course, he'll be better than this. But do keep in mind that what he's been doing the last few weeks is not really sustainable once Paolo is back to full health. Wendell Carter had 7 and 7, one of his poorer games. I'm holding him. Franz was good. Jalen Suggs continues to be very, very good. Possibly a sell high if you're worried about that injury risk. You could look to move off him. Anthony Black moved back to the bench. He was still pretty good in this one. 13 points, 8 rebounds, 6 assists, 2 steals. Hold him, reevaluate on a game-by-game, week-by-week basis. I do think that once Paolo is back to 33, 34 minutes, Anthony Black could end up being a drop at some point. But for now, just hold him. The same can't be said for Tristan da Silva. Move on from him. And Goga, block streamer. That's about it. The Denver Nuggets, this was a weird one. Atlanta were basically perfect in the first quarter. They led by 20-ish, I think. Early, they were up quite comfortably at halftime. Denver came out in the third quarter. I think Atlanta didn't hit a field goal till about midway through the third quarter. It was just a really weird game. Denver then got to about a 12 or 13-point lead towards the end of the game, and then switched off. Atlanta came back, but Denver do hold on. Jokic, who was terrible in the first quarter, I think he was 2 of 12 at one point, something like that. He ends up going 13 of 26 and 13 of 15 from the line, 40 points, 9 rebounds, 8 assists, a steal, and a block. He shot a ton of threes in the first quarter, and none of them went in. That was sort of weird. Cam Johnson had 16 points. We know who he is. You hold him. And reevaluate again once those guys, Christian Brown and Aaron Gordon, come back. Jamal Murray had 23 and 12 in his 38 minutes. Peyton Watson, only 9 points in this one, but he did have 6 rebounds, 2 assists, 2 blocks, 1 steal, and a 3, so continues to get it done. Go. We know that. Tim Hardaway had 4 threes. He is just a 3-point streamer, and Bruce Brown had 13 points, 3 steals, and a block. He helped them pull this one back, so he was one of the reasons. That's why the minutes were up here. In this, he played well. He's not a must-add. I do have him in a couple of leagues, and he's just sitting there until I find someone better. So I wouldn't be surprised if he is rostered in certain spots. For the Hawks, as I said, really weird game. Okongwu started the game. I think he hit 3 threes in the first 8 minutes or something. and then ended with 13 points, 6 rebounds. So he just sort of disappeared. This line is still fine, but could have been a lot better. Ricochet, please don't tell me anyone's holding him. Nickeil Alexander-Walker, 30 points again. I get a lot of questions about him. Will he be a drop? Maybe, but I doubt it. Dyson Daniels had 15 points, 8 assists, 2 steals. He hit a 3, which was nice, and didn't go to the free throw line, which is also nice. So a good game for him. Jalen Johnson had a triple-double in the first half. He ended up with 21, 18, and 16, 2 steals. Perfect from the free throw line, just continues his first-round value type season. And Kristaps Porzingis returned. He came off the bench. He played 20 minutes. He had 25 points, 2 blocks, 1 steal. Be aware there's going to be some rest. Conditioning was sort of the reason here that he was limited, supposedly. So hopefully he can get that back up. But we know the story with Porzingis. He misses games here and there, so just be prepared for that. Vic Krejci, 5 threes, 15 points, nothing else. He is just a 3-point streamer, of course. All right, the Spurs, they fall to the Cavs. Spurs, they started this game quite strongly and just ran out of steam. They just couldn't match it with the depth of the Cavs there. And this is what happens when you're relying on Harrison Barnes. 7 points for Harrison Barnes. If you want to hold him, you can. This is the Harrison Barnes we know. In saying that, he has been playing quite well. Champagny had 11 points and 3 steals. He is probably a hold at the moment as well. Bismack Biyombo is not. 4 points in 10 minutes. The fact that he even started is just ridiculous. I sort of get why they did it against Mobley, but surely just go with Kelly Olynyk, play Sohan as a small ball center. I don't know. Anyway, don't add Biyombo. Fox and Vassell were both very good. Vassell, very huge, very, very huge. That's not good English. A very big sell high at the moment. As for Kelly Olynyk, 1.6 minutes, no reason to be holding him. Keldon Johnson had 14 and 7 in 25 minutes. He's borderline. Once Wemby, once Castle are back, he'll probably be a drop. Jeremy Sohan had 10 points. We're not holding him. Let's talk about Dylan Harper. I have to scroll down a little bit here to get to him. We want the positive or the negative first? Let's start with the negative. 3 points, 1 of 11 shooting. So he killed your field goal percentage tonight. Also went 1 of 4 from the free throw line. Absolutely terrible. He did have 6 assists and he did play 23 minutes. So the minutes were up slightly. Those assist numbers are nice. So if you are holding him, I would continue to hold despite this performance. He had been shooting the ball a lot better. So hopefully just an outlier. For Cleveland, DeAndre Hunter struggling. Had some foul trouble, so only 21 minutes for him, 11 points. I'm holding him where I can, but I get it if you want to move off him as well. He is pretty limited in terms of what he brings to the table. Mobley had 17 and 10 with 2 blocks. Donovan Mitchell, very good as always. Jalen Tyson had 24 and 6, 2 blocks, 33 minutes. We hold until Darius Garland is back. And I mean, they've got a few players to come back. Yeah, you just hold him. This will be a situation a little bit like Anthony Black and a little bit like, who did we talk? We talked about someone earlier. You just reevaluate, keep reevaluating. But at the moment, he's a pretty clear hold. No one on this bench warrants a roster spot. Outside of maybe Lonzo Ball, if you are streaming assists and steals, he had 5 assists and 3 steals in this game. All right, the next game, Portland, they fall to Detroit, 122 to 116. There was no Donovan Clingan in this one. He was out with a leg. He sort of had this has been ongoing. He hasn't missed, maybe he's missed 1 game prior to this. So not surprising to see him given a night off. So let's talk about Robert Williams, who started and played 30 minutes. Here we are, 30 minutes for Robert Williams. I didn't think we'd see the day. 8 points, 14 rebounds, 5 blocks. I posted on Twitter, is he better than Donovan Clingan? I'm not that high on Klingon, so I'm going to certainly argue the point that he is. Now, the 30 minutes is not sustainable. As I say, I'm very surprised they even risk playing him for 30 minutes, but I love to see it. I'd be holding Klingon. I'd be making sure Robert Williams is rostered, though, because he has been very good. And if this is going to turn into a timeshare where they're both sort of 22 to 26 minutes a night, I think Rob Williams will have rest of season value. Again, assuming he can stay healthy. Denny Avdia, very good again, and good from the free throw line, 14 of 15. That's been a bit of an issue for him, so that was good to see. Tamani Kamara fouled out in 24 minutes. Probably his worst game of the year, but he had been coming off a string of fairly solid performances. So just hold him, hold Jeremy Grant. Shaden Sharp, he's ramping up his minutes. I'm guessing he's just going to continue coming off the bench. I know Josh has talked about this on his show as well. He's back to starters minutes, but he's not moved. He hasn't moved into the starting lineup. Sidi Sissoko is still starting. I think Drew Holiday will just slide back in for him. But it does appear as though Jeremy Grant has that starting spot locked down, at least for now. As for Sharp, he was very good. 28 points, 5 rebounds, 3 assists. He had a steal, perfect from the line. The field goal percentage is an issue, but you don't care if you have Shaden Sharp. So he is back to sort of the Shaden Sharp we saw to start the season, which is quite refreshing for the Pistons. All right, where do we want to? We don't need to talk about Cade. He's just been very good and continues to be very good. Jalen Duren, 18 points, only 8 rebounds. He had a block, 27 minutes. Foul issues here sort of limited him. Maybe it's a little bit of a buy low on him. He hasn't been as good as he was to start the season. Duncan Robinson had 14 points. Now, I know he really is a 3-point streamer, but they need him on the court so much that I don't mind just calling him a hold because he's getting some steals and he's playing 30-plus minutes a night. So he's getting opportunities, and it's very clear that how important he is to their success. So I actually don't mind holding him. Tobias Harris had 10 points in 31 minutes. Like would I hold Duncan Robinson over Tobias? That's pretty close, actually. I think Harris is probably a hold as well at the moment, but I don't know. He's old. Asar Thompson had 15, 4, and 2 with a steal in 25 minutes. Yeah, look, I don't know. The playing time is frustrating. He's doing enough, I think, to be rostered. I think you just have to adjust your expectations a little bit. Isaiah Stewart had 4 blocks in 22 minutes. He is just a blocks streamer. Ron Holland has been better of late, but I'm not rushing to add him. He had 17 points in 20 minutes, but he might come out in the next game and go 1 of 8 and score 3 points in 18 minutes. Jaden Ivey, 2 points, 10 minutes. I think we can just move on from him. Do we get to a point where he's starting? Maybe. But is his upside high enough? I'd question that. The Utah Jazz, they fall to the Knicks 146 to 112. This one was actually, I believe it was 23-0. So the Knicks scored the first 23 or 22 points of the game. Really set the tone, I suppose, for this one. And as you can see, the minutes outside of Ace Bailey, which, look, he's a rookie. You want to get reps for him. The minutes were down for the starters here. Yusuf Nurkic returned. He had 2 steals. He had 6 rebounds. He's a hold. Let's talk about Kyle Filipowski. He had 10, 8, and 3 with 2 steals in 30 minutes. Now, he's been rosterable the last month. Look, a lot of the production has come from injuries and blowouts and all sorts of things. And yes, that might not be considered normal, but how many games are the Jazz going to play that involve a blowout result or injuries or rest, that sort of thing? Probably quite a few. So yes, Filipowski's minutes have been circumstantial, but I don't mind holding him because those circumstances aren't really going to go away, I don't think. So I would hold him. Isaiah Collier, just an assists. He had 13 points in this one, but doesn't shoot 80% very often. He had 7 assists, though. I do think we get to a point where Walter Clayton might be rosterable later in the season. He had 11 points with 4 assists in 19 minutes. I don't know when that time will come because Keontae George is obviously playing very well. But just keep an eye on him in deeper leagues, even standard leagues. We might get to a point where he's playing 30 minutes a night. As for Ace Bailey, he had 13 points. He had a steal. He had a block. I still don't think he is someone you have to roster. He took a dump on your percentages here, 5 of 13 from the field and 1 of 3 from the line. Kevin Love played. That's a thing. Don't really need to talk about anyone else on that roster. For the Knicks, OG Anunoby returned on a minutes restriction, but as we're fully aware, this was a blowout, so they didn't need to extend any of their starters. The fact that Jalen Brunson played 31 minutes is really wrong. There was no need for it, but whatever. He had 33 points. OG had 11 points with 1 assist. Look, good to have him back. He'll obviously be better than this. So, yeah, just be happy that he returned here. Josh Hart, 8, 6, and 6. His production will likely start to fall off a bit here as OG ramps up. So the sell high on Josh Hart it's probably still there a little bit, but that may be gone in maybe in a week. Mitchell Robinson, 16 minutes off the bench, 7 rebounds, 2 steals, a block. That's all he is, a rebound and defensive stat specialist, I suppose. You stream him in as required. Jordan Clarkson played a lot of minutes, had 16 points. I'm not adding him. Miles McBride had 22 points in his 22 minutes. He's probably a hold at least for another game or two, but I do think once Anunoby is back up to 30-plus minutes, that McBride will probably drop off the standard league radar. All right, the Hornets, they defeat the Toronto Raptors. Pretty rough night for the Raptors, losing to the Hornets, who were... they welcomed back Brandon Miller. They lost LaMelo Ball, who I'm sure if you haven't seen it, he basically just fell over himself. It was a strange-looking injury. He planted... Hang on, I'm trying to remember. So he planted his right foot, which slipped, and then causing his left ankle to roll a little bit. It didn't look too bad, but what it did sort of highlight was how flimsy his ankles look. And I put something on Twitter about it. Is he just toast? Like, are his ankles just toast at this point? Because there was a player near him, but they didn't impact what happened to him. So it is worrying. He was playing quite well, 11 points, 3 assists. He had a steal in 12 minutes. Obviously, we keep an eye on this. I wouldn't be surprised if he misses time given the history of his ankles, which means Con Knipple will be doing a little bit more. Brandon Miller will have to do a bit more. Miller he was fine. I mean, the numbers weren't great, but just good to have him back, and no indication that there was a setback here. Miles Bridges, who had been terrible, he had 15 and 9. Could have been a little bit better if the game had been close. Kalkbrenner was dealing with an ankle injury, but managed to play through it. 12 and 6 for him with 2 blocks and a steal. Very clear hold as well. Moussa Diabate, 3 points, 4 rebounds in this one, 16 minutes. I'm still going to say he's a hold for now, but obviously if we get to a situation where Kalkbrenner is playing 26, 28 a night and Diabate is down in that 15 range, then, yeah, he could end up being a drop. We actually got 6 minutes of Mason Plumlee in this one, so that's why I'm holding on to Diabate. Tijan Salou, he had 21 points in 22 minutes. No, I am not adding him after this performance. I would keep an eye on KJ Simpson, though. If LaMelo is forced to miss time and Trey Mann continues to miss time, KJ Simpson is the next point guard up. He had 8 points, 4 assists, and 5 steals in 28 minutes. So he could be someone worth grabbing in the short term because there's no one else. For the Raptors, good Emmanuel Quickley game, 31 points for him. Didn't do a lot else, but good to see his shot falling. Scotty Barnes, yeah, probably we give him a pass. It wasn't terrible. 13 points, 3 rebounds, 5 assists, a steal, and a block. But it was just overall, it was just a terrible night for the Raptors. Ingram, probably his worst game of the season. Jakob Poeltl had 5 points in 23 minutes. This was just, it was a blowout. They just didn't need to extend him, and what's the point? To show you how much of a weird game this was, Garrett Temple played 7 minutes. So there you go. He's still in the NBA. He's still on a roster. So we actually can ignore pretty much everything on that box score. The Pacers, a good win for them and another bad loss for the Bulls. Siakam had 36 points, 10 rebounds, 2 steals. He's been pretty good this season, as expected, I guess, with the lack of depth on the team there. Jay Huff had 11 points with 5 assists, 5 blocks, 4 rebounds, so continue to hold him. The offense, it'll come, it'll go, but the blocks seem to be a thing at the moment, so just hold him. Andrew Nembhard, 15 points, 7 assists, 3 steals. He was very active in this one, looked good. Benedict Mathurin had 28 points with 2 steals, so one of his better games. Not surprising it came against the Bulls, who don't really like to play defense. Isaiah Jackson, we're obviously not holding him. TJ McConnell, not a great game. I would hold 4 assists and a steal in 14 minutes. He'd been better than this. Ethan Thompson played 34 minutes, so there you go. That's a guy who plays for the Pacers. For the Bulls, let's just fix this up here. All right, so for the Bulls, we had Ayo Dosunmu out. We had Trey Jones out. We had Zach Collins returning. We had Jalen Smith out. So, yeah, a little bit of shuffling around here. Julian Phillips remained in the starting lineup, did nothing. Kobe White returned. He was on a minutes restriction of around 25 minutes. He played 26 minutes, 22 points for him, 6 assists. So good to see him out there. He's likely to be on this minutes restriction for, I'd say, a week at least. But just make sure he's active. Josh Giddey, only 9 points for him. One of his poorer games. Again, the Bulls have just looked bad. Vooch, speaking of bad, 8 and 4. In 26 minutes, 7 shot attempts, 0 steals, 0 blocks, didn't get to the free throw line. These are the concerns with Vooch, is that when he's not scoring and scoring efficiently, he doesn't have a lot to fall back on. Obviously, he's not a drop or anything like that, but it is just something to be aware of. Zach Collins had 8 and 6 in 21 minutes. Deeper leagues, you probably want to give him a look. Once Jalen Smith is back, we'll determine who the backup is. But for now, I think Zach Collins is okay to grab in deeper leagues. And, Javon Carter, 22 minutes, whatever. Not looking at him. Patrick Williams, 26 minutes, didn't do anything. Not a lot really to take away here on the Bulls side of things. The Phoenix Suns, they fall to the Rockets. It wasn't really close at all. The Suns, obviously, without Devin Booker and Jalen Green. Booker, they are saying, could potentially return next Wednesday, I believe, for the NBA Cup. So, hello, re-aggravation. We'll see. I could be wrong, but it doesn't feel like he's been away for that long. Anyway, we'll see. So with him out, they don't function too well, do they? Colin Gillespie had 13 and 3. You probably have to be pretty happy with that given the result. He's a pretty clear hold until Booker is back, and even once Booker is back, I would hold him. Grayson Allen, he returned from an illness, 9 points for him. Again, a hold. Don't pay too much attention to this one. Mark Williams, 10 points, 17 minutes. Just got played off the court. Dylan Brooks, is he the biggest sell high of all time? He might be. 23 points. He shot the ball 24 times for whatever reason. 0 steals, 0 blocks. He had 4 assists. Also 0 3-pointers. But still huge sell high for him. Royce O'Neal, 0 points. This is a dud if ever I saw one. Almost a Tony Snell. 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal in 19 minutes. That was it. Do hold, though. I think we can hold hold on him. And then, not much off the bench either. It was just a poor performance all around. Ryan Dunn had 3 steals in 18 minutes. He's just not playing enough to be rostered. You can string him in if the schedule calls for it. He's not going to play more than about 23, 24 minutes. Jordan Goodwin had 9 points in 22 minutes. He's a soft hold, at least until Booker is back. So maybe you get another 1 or 2 games out of Jordan Goodwin. And Bouye, I think that's how you say his name, but I'm not too sure. 18 points for him in 18 minutes. Deeper leagues keep an eye on him. He's played at least 15 minutes, I think, in about 4 games in a row. They're obviously going very deep into the rotation here, but he is a name to just keep an eye on in deeper leagues. For the Rockets, as I said, an easy win. So we got limited minutes for a few of their guys there. Kevin Durant passed the 31,000 point mark in this one, 28 points for him. He's looked good since returning. Jabari Smith had 16 points, didn't do much else. He's a hold, but we know his limitations. Steven Adams started for Alperen Şengün, who was out due to an illness, 4 points, 8 rebounds, 2 steals, 2 blocks. We know who Steven Adams is. He is a streamer for rebounds, nothing else. Josh Okogie started, 6 points. Don't add Okogie, please. Amen Thompson, no defensive stats. It's not ideal, but 31 points on 12 of 17 and 6 of 6 from the line. His free throws have been really good this season, so that's certainly not something that I had on my bingo card. Offensively, he's scored at least 20 now in 3 straight games, so he appears to be back on that end of the floor. And to show you sort of how much of a blowout this was, Jeff Green played 8 minutes. Didn't score, but good to see Uncle Jeff back on the court. Reed Shepherd, only 21 minutes off the bench. He had 10 points and 6 assists with a steal. He has obviously slumped a little bit of late, moving out of the starting lineup. The shots aren't falling. Hold. This will turn around at some point, and the defense is solid enough most nights for him to warrant a roster spot. Clint Capella just looks washed. He had 4 blocks, but he's not doing much out there. Aaron Holiday, 10 points in 29 minutes. I'm not super interested in him. All right, before we get to the next game, reminder that this episode is brought to you by FanDuel. You can head over to the sportsbook.fanduel.com website, have a look at all of the betting over there. They were talking about the MVP odds on the Thunder game. Shea is still the favourite over Jokic, over Luka. Cade has moved up into 4th, and Tyrese Maxey at 5th. So, no sign of Giannis in those top few names, and he's actually pretty much gone from the betting altogether, surprisingly. He's not in the top. How many? That's about 15 or 16. So that's potentially to do with the trade rumors or the injury. Maybe he doesn't hit the games cap. I don't know. But, so hopefully you didn't have money on Giannis. But if you wanted to get on Shea or Jokic or Luka, they are the top 3 at the moment. Sportsbook.fanduel.com is the website for all your betting needs. The Clippers, they fall to the Grizzlies. Another rough night for the Clippers. Kawhi Leonard was fine. James Harden was mediocre, fine. John Collins had 16 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists, and a steal. He's a hold. He's not an exciting hold, but he's a hold. Zubac's another terrible night for him, but obviously a hold as well. Chris Dunn, you're just streaming him for steals. He had 0 points in 21 minutes. Kobe Sanders and Kobe Brown, at some point, I think they're just going to get minutes. Kobe Brown had 13 points with 3 steals in this one. I'm not rushing to add either of those guys, but I do think we get to a point, if the trajectory that they're on, although we keep in mind that the Clippers don't have their pick, so there is no incentive for them to lose necessarily. But if they do, if they look to trade someone or they just want to develop these young guys, then, I think Kobe Brown and Kobe Sanders are names to watch. For the Grizzlies, let's start with Zach Edey, who had been playing very well, 10 points, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks in 29 minutes. This is probably his floor, double-double with a couple of blocks, which would make him like top 60, and then it's all up from there. So not his best game, but certainly not a terrible game either. Speaking of terrible, Vince Williams was terrible. He had 4 assists in 19 minutes. I think you can move on from him. Just stream him in if you need assists. Cedric Coward, his best game in probably a month. 23 points, 14 rebounds. If you want to add him after this performance, sure, but he'd been really bad prior to this. So I don't see him as a priority, but if he is available and you want to take a chance, go ahead. Jaren Jackson had 13 points with 2 steals in 31 minutes. The struggles continue for him. Not much you can do. Just hold and hope that he turns it around. Santi Aldama, who I had on my must-roster list, of course, went and had 7 points with 6 rebounds and a steal. I still think he's probably a hold, but again, like a little bit like John Collins, he's not an exciting hold. Cam Spencer, I mean, do they move him into the starting lineup at some point? 17 points, 7 assists, a steal, 3 threes in 29 minutes. He's certainly outplaying Vince Williams at the moment. I don't know whether that's on the agenda, but I would absolutely have Cam Spencer over Vince Williams. Okay, next game. I think we're getting there. We're close to the end, aren't we? The Sixers, they beat the Bucks. The Sixers, they were without Joel Embiid. Paul George did return. He had 20 points in 30 minutes. Dominic Barlow remains starting, 6 points, 21 minutes. I don't think he's a hold. He is starting, but I think once they're healthy, there's not going to be enough for him to do. Drummond had 5 points in 23 minutes. Adem Bona had 10 points in 24 minutes. So are we looking at a timeshare? This was a bit of a blowout. I'd have Drummond over Bona if you had to pick one of them, although Embiid will potentially be back for the next game. So neither will have value if that is the case. Tyrese Maxey, quiet night for him, 12 points. He had 4 steals, but just didn't have to do a lot in this one. His shot wasn't falling, so yeah, he just deferred to others. BJ Edgecombe had 12 points in 24 minutes. I had questions about him too. I'm holding him, but it's certainly trending in the direction of streaming only for steals because, yeah, he's been at about 24 minutes now for a week and he's not coming off a long-term injury. He was out for like 3 games or something. So is this a minutes of restriction or is this just the fact that Quentin Grimes is there on the bench and they can afford to sort of split minutes with Edgecombe, Grimes and Jared McCain? So I'd probably hold Edgecombe for another game or 2, but I wouldn't be surprised if we reach a point where he is a drop. Jabari Walker had 18 points, nothing else in 18 minutes. Quentin Grimes, mentioned him, 22 points, 7 of 9 shooting, 5 assists, 22 points, 29 minutes. So I'm holding Grimes. I'd almost probably have him over Edgecombe, to be honest, at this point. Jared McCain had 8 points. He'd been better. But I would have him third if we're putting those guys in a list. For the Bucks, no Giannis. It was reported earlier that he will likely miss a month. That's not a surprise. It was more of just a confirmation. So we had Jericho Sims starting. Doc Rivers isn't a very good coach, is he? Why would you start Jericho Sims at power forward? 2 points in 30 minutes, 1 of 1 from the field. What a waste. He had 9 rebounds, I guess, if you streamed him in. Miles Turner, on the other hand, who should be getting rebounds, had 2. He's like 9 foot tall. 19 points is nice. 1 block is not really that nice. 8 of 12 from the line. That's terrible. His rough season continues. You hold him, but I don't know. You've just got to hope that something happens here. Let's talk about AJ Green. He got injured. 0 points, 15 minutes, hurt his shoulder. He's going for an MRI. So if you have picked him up, don't drop him yet. Just keep an eye on the MRI results, which hopefully will come in the next day or 2. If he misses time as well, do we dare look at Gary Trent? Let's have a look at their lineup. So Kevin Porter was good. He had 20 points, 9 assists, 7 rebounds, 2 steals. Ryan Rollins was also good, 16 points, 7 assists, 6 rebounds, and 4 steals. So their 2 guards are locked in. That's fine. I'm not sure if Jericho Sims is this is his role now. Can't confirm or deny that. Bobby Portis had 22 points. He didn't do anything else. We've talked about him as probably being an ad just to see how things go. Kyle Kuzma had 14 points, a steal, and a block in 29 minutes. So as expected, it was Kuzma that played more minutes than Bobby Portis. As I said, though, if Green misses here, I think they might move Trent into the starting lineup, but they could also move Kuzma in and play him at the small forward. There's a few options here. So I would just make sure Kuzma is rostered and probably Portis as well. And then keep an eye on if Gary Trent comes in. I still don't think I'd roster him. I'd just view him as a streamer. And the final game of the night, the Dallas Mavericks, convincing loss to the Oklahoma City Thunder. And it's not good reading if you're a Mavericks fan. Let's start at the top there with Anthony Davis, who had 2 points in 24 minutes. There were a couple of situations in this game. I think it was the second quarter, maybe early in the second quarter. They were running through an offense, and he was wide open for a good 2, 3, 4 seconds under the basket. Cooper Flagg had the ball. They ran. I think Najee Marshall ended up taking like a bad shot. And Davis was visibly frustrated and annoyed. He got subbed off not long after that. Now, whether that was to do with that or just that was part of their plan, obviously they're sort of limiting him. They do play tomorrow as well, the Mavericks, so keep in mind that they are on a back-to-back. So he may not play tomorrow, or the fact that he only played 24 minutes, maybe that's part of the plan to limit him so that he can play tomorrow. But anyway, just the body language from him is not great. I wouldn't be surprised if he moves on at some point. They try to trade him. I mean, he never really wanted to come here in the first place. So, let's see what happens there. As for the rest of the starters, Ryan Nembhard started again over Brandon Williams. Only 10 points, 4 assists. I know he'd had a couple of really big games. We talked about him quite a lot on the Mailbag show earlier in the week. And we talked about what's he going to average for the season. I think we sort of settled on around 9 to 10 points, maybe 6 to 7 assists and a steal. That's pretty close to what he gave us here. He'll be better than this, I think, a little slightly better, but don't expect him to sort of blow up like he has the last few games. Max Christie had 12 points. He's a 3-point streamer. Cooper Flagg, not his best game. Najee Marshall, 18 points. We hold him until PJ Washington is back. And then the bench, again, not much there. Brandon Williams, I think we can move on from him. 9 points in 24 minutes. He did have 7 assists, but D'Angelo Russell appears to be back in the rotation, 12 points in 16 minutes. I mean, Jason Kidd's not a good coach, so we don't read too much into all of this, and we're not surprised by it either. Jaden Hardy had 23 points in 20 minutes. I mean, if we ever get to a point where he's going to play 30 minutes a night, I think Jaden Hardy would be a must-roster player because he's a strong offensive option for them, but that just doesn't seem to be the case. He's not a priority. So, not adding D'Angelo Russell, Klay Thompson, Brandon Williams we can drop. I'm not looking at Jaden Hardy yet. It's just a lot of negatives. And that's a shame because they had been playing well of late, but just not in this game. And for the Thunder, just another really comfortable win for them. Chet had 15 and 8 with a block. Shea, another 30-point game in less than 30 minutes. Cason Wallace had 11 points. He had a steal, 3 threes. If you're holding him in specific builds, this was pretty good. He shot over 50%. He gave you 3 threes. 4 rebounds is fine, and a steal is nice. Not a must-roster player, but can be rostered, as I said, in certain situations. And then we got Brooks Barnheiser in the rotation here, Chris Youngblood. AJ Mitchell had 9 points in 23 minutes. I think he's a hold, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get to a point where AJ Mitchell, Aaron Wiggins, these guys just basically cannibalize each other. and we end up moving on from all of them. All right, and that will do. That's all the games, all 12 games. That's a lot of talking. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. A reminder, go and download this episode, all of my episodes on the audio platforms. If you could, that would be really appreciated. Give this video a thumbs up, subscribe to the YouTube channel. I'll be back with tomorrow's game wraps. Let's have a look. It won't be 12 games. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7, nice. So quite a few teams on back-to-backs. Obviously, the Hawks are on a back-to-back. The Cavaliers, the Bucks, the Pistons, the Heat, the Clippers, the Rockets, and the Mavericks. So just be aware of some of those guys like Steven Adams, Anthony Davis, Kawhi Leonard. Who else have we got? No one there. Maybe someone on the Cavs. Kristaps Porzingis. So there could be a few guys tomorrow that don't play on the second night of a back-to-back. So keep an eye on the injury report and look for your streamers based on who's available. All right, I'm going to get out of here. Thank you, everyone. I'm Adam King. This has been Stuff It, a Fantasy Basketball Podcast. We are done.